Hey guys, what's going on? So, for a lot of you, Classic WoW is almost here, and then maybe for some of you watching this video, Classic is actually already here. But you're clicking on this video because you want to know how to level a Druid and what talent points to use. So in this video, we're going to cover talent points for a Druid, the most efficient way. Obviously, you can play the Druid class however you would like. If you'd like to level as Balance or Resto, feel free. But I'm going to cover in this guide why those specs aren't ideal. So, first off, let's get it right out on the table. Feral is by far the best spec to level in. There's no comparison with the other specs. I know some other specs like, say Shaman with enhancement and Elemental, there might be some close comparisons, and it's kind of based on what level you are and things like that, and maybe after you're level 40 plus on the Shaman, you might actually want to go Elemental. But on a Druid, even once you get to level 40 and you have Moon Conform and things like that, you still want to stay Feral. Feral is by far the fastest way to level. And one of the big reasons that this is because of overall downtime. So when you're in Cat and Bear form, your mana continues to regen. So you're able to kill mobs while filling up your mana bar, essentially. So this means that you can kill 1, 2, 3 mobs and then pop out to heal yourself, and you'll have a full bar of mana at that point. This allows you for next to no downtime. The only time you ever really have downtime is maybe when you're dealing with like some elite quests or some mobs that hit particularly hard and you're really having to heal yourself quite often. Other than that, you never really need to stop and eat or drink, and that's just one of the real valuable things with leveling as Feral. Also, you have speed increase with Cat form and Feline Swiftness, the talent point, and also you have Travel form at level 30. So in general, Druids level very, very fast on their own out in the world. That being said, a lot of people have interest in Balance, and I would say stay away from the spec. If it's really, really within your interest to play Balance and it's what you've always wanted to do, obviously go ahead and level, but it will slow you down quite a bit, actually. You're going to be having to drink fairly frequently, and you're going to run into a lot of mana issues in general. So as a rule of thumb, I would just stay Feral all the way through Classic when you're leveling, that is. All right, so we know that Feral is the spec we're going to be going. Just in terms of downtime and overall time to kill and getting between quests, it's just far superior. So now what do we do in terms of our talent points? Well, obviously the first 5 points is pretty much no question we're going in Ferocity. Ferocity is going to help us a lot because of just the decreased energy and rage costs of a lot of our abilities. This will help us in pretty much every encounter. We're skipping Feral Aggression. Feral Aggression is nice when you're level 60 and you have Ferocious Bite and you're using a PvE build. But for now, we're skipping it. We don't have Ferocious Bite for a very long time, so we're skipping that talent. And we're going straight down into Thick Hide, which is the second tier of the Feral tree. Thick Hide increases our armor contribution by items by up to 10% when we have full 5 points in it. Now, this is not huge, but again, this is just a passive mitigation that we get the whole time we're leveling up, regardless of what form we're in. So again, it's just a really nice bonus there. I always take it. It's going to help you in terms of how much damage you take as you're leveling up, and it's pretty much just a must. We're not going to be sneaking around much as Cat form. We don't use Prowl that often while we're leveling, so Feral Instinct really has no use to us. Also, it takes us a long time until we get Pounce, so we don't need Brutal Impact, and once we get level 20, we're out of Cat form, or we're in Cat form out of Bear form most of the time, so we don't need Brutal Impact. All right, so this is kind of the tree. This is the third tier of the Feral tree where it's kind of questionable. So a lot of people will want to take Feral Charge because of PvP, but I always stay away from Feral Charge while I'm leveling just because I'm always ahead of the curve and I don't really get into much PvP while I'm leveling up. So I always stay away from Feral Charge. Obviously, I put 2 points into Feral Swiftness or Feline Swiftness as fast as possible. Those are definitely needed. They're going to cut a lot of time off of travel and just running in between different quests and things like that. It's obviously really, really good. Sharpened Claws is our next pick. This will just give us flat crit in Cat and Bear form, so obviously it's just really strong overall. and then we've finished out the third tier of the feral tree. Now we're going into Predatory Strikes. This is a great talent point in and of itself, but it's also opening up the door for us to get down into Heart of the Wild later on. We're not getting improved shred. There is no front shredding in the classic beta, and they've already confirmed that there will be no front shredding in classic. So there's no point in taking this talent while leveling, so we're skipping that entirely. Okay, at this point, we're going into Blood Frenzy. We've got 2 into Blood Frenzy, and this is just going to help us get more damage out on targets because we're building combo points faster anytime we crit. Obviously, this basically just gives us an additional combo point when we crit. So, very, very useful. Okay, guys, at this point, we're looking at Fairy Fire for Feral. This is obviously super, super nice. If we're attacking a mob, it gives us more armor reduction on that mob, and also it's a really nice way for us to pull mobs to ourselves instead of having to face, pull, or sneak up as a cat. So this one's really, really nice. Then Savage Fury, obviously a no-brainer here again. Once we rank it up twice, we get 20% more damage in some of our main cat and bear abilities. So obviously just another really, really good point. Now, after we've gotten 2 into Savage Fury, we're going to want to get Heart of the Wild. But at this point, we need to spend 2 points and other things. So I normally just pick up Feral Charge at this time and Brutal Impact. So now at this point, we can move into Heart of the Wild. And this is why we want to go deep into the Feral tree early on. Some of these lower abilities that we get from the Feral tree are so strong that we just want to get them as soon as we can before we go into any other points. Okay, at this point, we can get down to Heart of the Wild. Obviously, there's no explanation for why Heart of the Wild is good. It's an amazing, amazing talent point. It's really what makes the Feral tree so strong, especially for hybrid builds. So we're taking 5 out of 5 into that. Now, obviously, we get down to where we can get Leader of the Pack, and that's an easy one to pick up too. Extra crit is always nice. Okay, now we have the option to go either Balance or to Restoration for Furor. Now, I always pick up Furor first just because it's the most impactful when I'm leveling up. I pop out of form to heal myself up between mobs. And it's nice to be able to enter cat form and get that spike of energy right away, so I'm not having to wait for my energy ticks as long. Now, once we've gotten 5 points into Furor, we're going to switch over to the Balance tree, picking up Nature's Grasp, and we're putting 4 points into Improved Nature's Grasp. There's no point really to get Improved Wrath, so that's the reason why we're going Nature's Grasp. Now, after we've gotten past Nature's Grasp, we're moving into Natural Weapons. 10% more damage with physical attacks, always good. Getting Natural Shapeshifter. This reduces mana cost of shapeshifting by 30%. Again, pretty much a no-brainer. And then we're picking up Omen of Clarity, and that'll be our final point, and that'll be us hitting level 60. So that's the spec overall for leveling. Pretty much as soon as I hit 60 and I start doing dungeons, I'll respec and do a completely different spec. But there is no question that this is by far the best leveling build. Now, there is some leeway in terms of talent points, but I will say in my experience, going deep feral first is always much stronger than putting any points into balance or resto before getting down to Leader of the Pack. There's just so many good talent points down at the bottom with Savage Fury, being able to pull with Fairy Fire in feral form, and then also Heart of the Wild, that it's kind of difficult to go with any other points into resto or balance beforehand. So that's just my opinion. That's kind of how I would do my talents. Now, as soon as you're level 60, obviously respect to whatever suits your playstyle and everything like that. I will be covering PvE talent points. I'll be covering PvP talent points, and this will include both DPS, resto healing builds, and also hybrid PvP builds. So keep an eye out for those. I know this was more of like a pretty basic and somewhat boring video just discussing talent points and stuff, but it's a question that I get asked a lot, and I just wanted to kind of have it out there as a video so I can point people in that direction if they have questions. The talent build that I use for leveling will be in the description. So feel free to use that. And guys, again, talent points are somewhat subjective. You might really, really hate thick hide for whatever reason. I know I've gotten questions about that a lot, like, oh, why don't you put 3 points into thick hide and then 2 into brutal impact? Well, that's just personally the way I like to play while I'm leveling up. But again, when you're leveling up, guys, it's pretty much up to you how you want to play, and that comes for endgame as well. There's obviously some builds that are going to be better than others, but within those talent trees, there are some talent points that are more subjective. So just because you like to play a different way doesn't mean that it's bad, and doesn't mean that my way is the only way to do it as well. So hope you guys enjoyed that video. Hope it was helpful in terms of getting ready for leveling. Look forward to more videos getting you guys ready for the leveling process come Classic, because we are getting closer and closer every day. All right, guys, thanks again, and I'll catch you next time. Also, guys, before I leave, I just wanted to quickly say, in this footage of me leveling, I am balanced. I know I probably was going to get questions about that. Oh, why do you have Nature's Grasp? I wanted to test out to see if balance was worth going to level 20 as balance, and then at level 20, when you get cat form, to switch over to feral. I personally don't think it's really worth the 1 gold respec cost, and it's not going to affect your leveling that much. I would just go full feral right away, like I said in this video. So that's why I am balanced in this footage, but I will say that on launch I will just be going full feral.